Completing a consumer proposal or filing for bankruptcy has a whole bunch of components to it. There's the numbers, how much is owing, where, what's the credit score, like all that stuff. But then there's also the emotions of it, the emotions before a filing like that, during the process, and after. So we're going to talk about the emotional dynamics at play. Our guest is Joshua Harris. He is CEO and a licensed insolvency trustee at Harrison Partners. Hello there.
Hey, Bruce, thanks for having me.
You deal with numbers all day, every day, but more than that, you deal with people, and people have a lot of other intangible concerns and dynamics and all that stuff. I want to frame our discussion sort of thinking about this as before, during, and after someone participates in a program with you. What would you say are some of the things that you commonly see with regards to emotions they face in that first call?
Absolutely. It's a very emotional process when people are coming in. There's anxiety about not knowing what to expect, how they're going to make it through the process, what the process may look like, thinking that they would never have been in a scenario like this where they have to speak to a professional, nervous that we're going to be, these suit and tie people that are going to scare them or put them in jail even. We've heard
Mm.
some pretty crazy things about what they think debt relief looks like. And then, of course, we see a lot of distress, right? People have gone through a very difficult time, whether it's job loss, marital dispute, recent disability, and just having that big change in their lifestyle and coming in here just a lot of times crying or a lot of times not knowing what to expect and being, as you said, very emotional about what's coming and what's going to be coming in the near future.
There's a tremendous amount of shame for a lot of people to even be picking up the phone and calling. So in some cases, like it's a miracle that they actually dialed the numbers and got through to you. What does it sound like for you and your folks as you have those conversations to try and comfort them, to try and provide them with some validation that they're in the right place?
Yeah, absolutely. So we operate our intake process from a very human perspective, and all of our people are trained from that perspective to ensure that we give the people an opportunity to actually discuss what their concerns are. I mean, sure, if you look at the process, there are specific laws, and you can cookie cutter this whole process if you want to. But the reality is, these are real people with real problems, and they want to talk about them a lot of the time. So we
Mm.
respect their time. We treat them like they're our friend or our family. We give them options and advice, and we want to ensure that they understand what the outlook looks like for them. This isn't the end of your life, your financial future. This is the beginning of something. And oftentimes people will leave our office feeling relief, and
Mm.
feeling like the future is brighter than it was before.
Yeah. Once they sign on to something like a consumer proposal, or maybe that specifically, I mean, it's not done then because they're cutting a check every month, probably for years. What are some of the things from an emotional perspective that clients would be going through as they kind of, tough it out and stick to something that's not easy?
Yeah. So I think the first thing that everyone expects is that they're going to immediately be in this great credit position. Well, some people feel that. Some people feel that their credit's going to be completely destroyed. And I think it's actually somewhere in the middle. So that anxiety of what's coming next, it's very important for somebody to listen about how the process works and about how it gets accepted. But once it's accepted and you're in that monthly check cutting, as you called it, there's a lot of resources and opportunity to discuss with our team about how to rebuild your credit, how to get things like car loans or mortgages and things like that. So it's not the end of your financial future, as I mentioned before. This is actually the beginning. And although not every trustee is created equal, we do have mandatory financial counseling sessions. And at Harrison Partners, we've built out a great program for those counseling sessions to ensure that we really do discuss your emotions, your story, and how to rebuild your credit so that when you finish, you feel better. And we walk you through that so your anxiety sort of gets relieved as you move through the beginning of the process. And then it just becomes another bill and you're on your way.
There are certain obligations that your clients have to follow, but one of them is not disclosure. They don't have to disclose to their, family members or their friends or whatever. What What have you learned over time about those who choose to include, friends and family members in what they're going through, and those who don't, and some wisdom on which choice might be better for an individual?
I love that question so much because I go through this all the time. I'm personally married. I have kids, and we have our own financial issues at home. We discuss different finances and bills and credit cards. And I am of the opinion that being honest with your spouse is the most important thing. Because if they find out down the line and they feel that you might have been hiding something, it could be blown out into a disproportionate thing. And it may not even be about the debt. It may be that you withheld that information from me. That being said, I do understand that in certain cultures and certain circumstances, it may not feel appropriate and it may take some time for you to share that. And I encourage people to explore what that experience is like for them individually. Not everybody may have that open financial relationship with their spouse, or their friends or their family. But looking for resources, looking around you. And oftentimes, what we'll find is we'll encourage people to talk to their family about it. And then they'll find out that their family all filed consumer proposals too, or a couple of them
Right.
have been through the program and they're
Right.
comfortable with it. And sometimes they were even Harrison Partners clients, and we can have relationships and things like that. But it's important for people to reflect on what's best for them. And we're always here to discuss those things with them. If we're just a shoulder to cry on, then we'll be there for you. But
Mhm.
encouraging openness and discussions with family, absolutely.
Not every single consumer proposal is necessarily successful, right? Like you've got that commitment to pay that amount of money every single month over the course of years, as I've mentioned. What are some of the emotional trip lines? I mean, there's circumstantial things that has that proposal not be successful, but there are also some, I would say, emotional things that have that be hard for people to follow through on. Are there any pitfalls that you would flag in that regard?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the system is not perfect, unfortunately, and a lot of times a creditor may have sent your debt to a collections agency, or a creditor may not pop out of the woods until a year into the proposal. And oftentimes, emotions like anger or anxiety will come out, 6, 8 months into a proposal. Hey, this collections agency is bothering me now. I thought you took care of everything. And
Mm.
although we do our very best, we aren't perfect. And we encourage people to stay in communication with our counselors, with our trustees, to ensure that we can walk you through these things. Tax season is another great example. That can be a very stressful time, holidays, things like that. We'll work with you to skip payments or reschedule payments. We will contact those collections agencies. We're doing the best we can, and we're here to work with you throughout the entire proposal. It's not just sign up here and we'll collect money from you. We're in a relationship now, and we're here to help you.
So we talked about before that first conversation. We've talked about some of the stuff that can arise during. What about after? I mean, the simple answer is woohoo, for those who've successfully completed a consumer proposal or even a bankruptcy filing, there's a milestone that is reached. But I'm sure it's not as simple as that. People probably have other things going on as this process wraps up.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot changes over a 60-month or 5-year period of a consumer proposal. Incomes change, relationships change, goals change, right? Um, so you're going to have people who want to get mortgages, or who may have had a change in circumstance and unfortunately come into some new debt. And again, tapping on the resources available to you, which is your trustee and those counselors, to take advantage of those future opportunities. I want to share a quick story, if you don't mind.
Please.
I have this client. She was a single mother of two. She was a nurse, wasn't getting any child support, and she lived outside of Toronto in the suburbs. And she needed a car to get to work. And when she came to us, she was just absolutely devastated. Her car had broken down. She didn't know what to do. And during the proposal process, we were able to assist her in getting a car that was able to take her young children with her, a safe car at a good financing rate. She got rid of her credit card debt, which had been piling up. She was now calmer. She could work more and feel more comfortable at work, and less angry with her kids because she had less stress. And when the proposal was completed, she rolled that into a brand new vehicle. So it's an ongoing relationship and it's an ongoing ride with us, but we are always here to help people take a step back, look at it from a macro perspective, and help you sort of reflect inwards.
Really interesting stuff. Joshua, thank you for joining us today to talk about it.
Thanks so much, Bruce.
Joshua Harris, CEO and a licensed insolvency trustee at Harrison Partners. He was here to talk about some of the less tangible elements of an insolvency filing, consumer proposal, bankruptcy, or whatever. Yeah, there's lots of number stuff, but there's also what's not just in your head, but what's going on in your heart as you walk that particular path.